Hi. So a while back I stumbled upon a really rather funny German reference from 1716, which mentioned the production of a nice black ink. For all my German reading viewers, the reference reads like this. I dug a bit deeper and I found that you actually only need 2 ingredients to make the so-called iron gall ink: gallic acid and iron 2 sulfate. For the preparation of iron gall ink I used these oak galls. These oak galls are about 50 to 70% tannins. Tannins in general are macromolecules containing large amounts of hydroxyl groups and phenyl groups in their structure. One class of tannins is hydrolyzable tannin. This consists mostly of gallic acid monomers, hence why it is a good source of gallic acid. To make the extraction of gallic acid more efficient, I crushed the galls up with a hammer. Then, to a 600 ml beaker, I add the crushed oak galls and a stir bar. Yes, I actually got proper stir bars now. I got tired of using the bread clips, but they were good while they lasted. To this, I then add an arbitrary amount of water just to cover the oak galls and bring everything to a boil. The reaction going on here is a hydrolysis reaction where the tannins are hydrolyzed to form a large variety of products, 2 of which are gallic acid and gallotannic acid, which both are precursors to the iron gall ink. After about 45 minutes, I turned off the heat and brought the volume of the solution up to about 500 milliliters and proceeded to filter. In the meantime, I prepare the second ingredient, which is 10 grams of iron 2 sulfate heptahydrate. This is dissolved in an arbitrary amount of water, and apparently my iron sulfate has quite a bit of filler in it, but what do I expect buying 1 kilo for €5 really? I filter out the filler junk, and now both of our solutions are ready and we can make some ink. I use a plastic cup as my reaction vessel because the ink I'm making is actually quite stainy and this makes the cleanup much easier. I add both the gallic acid solution and then the iron sulfate, and we get a really nice color change to a dark blue, nearly black color. This is technically not a solution though, but rather a very finely dispersed material that is formed here. The exact composition of this pigment is not known, but it is believed that the iron 2 ions react with both the hydroxyl group and the acid group of the gallic acid and make some kind of 3-dimensional complex. If you don't have iron 2 sulfate, you can actually use iron chloride. Surprisingly, it needs to be iron 3 chloride, which I found out whilst experimenting with the preparation of the ink a little bit. With iron 2 chloride, you only get this weird white precipitate, which I'm not quite sure what it is. However, with iron 3 chloride you get the same color change as with the iron 2 sulfate. Back to the batch I made, I need to add a binding agent since the ink is a suspension of small ink particles and not actually a solution. Usually gum arabic is used, but I didn't want to buy that, so instead I just used honey and hoped that would have some kind of similar effect. And at this point, the ink is ready for use. So I filled up an ink cartridge and proceeded to wonderfully draw the structure of gallic acid, And to my surprise actually, it worked really well. What makes this ink so special is the fact that it is very water resistant. This property can be shown really well in this small experiment. Standard pen ink is usually pretty water soluble, as can be seen right after adding water to the dish. The iron Gall ink, though, is completely unaffected. This becomes even more evident after letting the dish sit for about a day, whereafter it looks like this. And to end this video, I will let you enjoy this really nice calligraphy done with my ink by Dragonheart001. You can go over to my Instagram to see some behind the scenes footage or other stuff I find interesting. And as always, thanks for watching.